Welcome back to the show. The theme of our show today is foreclosures, and we're on the line with Mike Auger, owner of Patriot Home Inspections. We're talking about pitfalls of foreclosure and short sale properties, so distressed properties that haven't had attention in a while. Mike, what's happening? What are your thoughts on these?
Well, the idea of buying a foreclosed property or a bank-owned property or a short sale, it's really appealing to people because you can get a great deal on it and you really can score. But there are some things that you do have to look out for, or at least be aware of when you're doing this type of purchase.
Absolutely.
We see them a lot. The biggest one you just hinted at is deferred maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, a home that is in foreclosure, or a home that's bank-owned that's been foreclosed on, or they're doing a short sale on, the people don't have the money to keep the house, or it wouldn't be foreclosed on. They also don't have the money to maintain it. So there's all kinds of deferred maintenance that's going to be present, and you should expect to see that kind of stuff.
Very true. And while you may think you're getting a great deal, like Mike had indicated, all that deferred maintenance may add up, and what you're paying might actually be overpaying for the house. Something to keep in mind your real estate professional should tell you.
It definitely can happen. Another thing that we see a lot with foreclosed properties, short sale properties, is many times the utilities are not on, especially, if it's not occupied. And, with the bank owned especially, a lot of times they're not really cooperative as far as turning on utilities. So it can limit my ability as your home inspector to give you the best info about the house. So you have to budget for things that we can't check, like heating and plumbing.
Very good point.
During the wintertime, a lot of banks, again, on a house that's vacant and foreclosed on, a bank-owned property, they do winterize them, but they don't always hire the best folks to do the job. Mm-hmm. So even though they'll say that it's winterized, a lot of times you'll still find that there are still plumbing deficiencies that you'll only really find out once you turn the water back on.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing that happens is a little bit more obscure, but you do get limited access to the property at times. On a house that is a short sale, your seller is usually pretty helpful because they're getting out from under a house that they can no longer afford, so they'll be accommodating. On a house that's a foreclosure, you're talking about somebody who may not be as cooperative about leaving the property, and sometimes they don't cooperate as far as giving us access to all the areas of the home. Matter of fact, we had one. It was kind of interesting. The seller kept turning the heat off because they were afraid we were going to use the last of her fuel to test the heating system. So it can be a little bit tricky at times, from a standpoint of access.
Mike, are you sure that wasn't a squatter?
No, they were losing the house to foreclosure.
Oh man, because most of the time with foreclosures that I've seen, they're not in the house. So watch out for those squatters, Mike.
That can happen. We have seen a guy living in a house one time. They had a pet, and they had all kinds of stuff set up in the basement.
Sad.
That can be tricky.
Very sad.
The other things to keep in mind are during a conventional purchase, you'll have a home inspector come through and they'll find all the conditions of the property, and they'll give you a report. Sometimes you can negotiate conditions. On these type of sales, you really usually can't negotiate a credit at closing, a reduction in price, or repairs. So it's kind of as is.
Absolutely.
And then the last thing to be cognizant of is sometimes you have limited inspection periods. Typically in a purchase, as I'm sure you guys have talked about in other segments, you've got a 10-day or 2-week inspection contingency period to get your inspection done. Sometimes on these type of purchases, they really try to compress that inspection period. So you really have a lot more work to do to try to get your inspectors in there to get the house checked out for you. I've heard as little as 5 days before. So that can make things difficult.
That's good stuff. I'm glad that you know about the process and all that. Obviously, you've done tons of them. Mike Auger with Patriot Home Inspections. If you have questions for Mike and want to contact him, please go to theroundtableradio.com. Check out the contact section. Type us an email. We'll connect you with Mike. And Mike can also be found at Mike, what's your website? I'm sorry. It's so easy to remember.
It is homeinspectorri.com.
I was going to say that. I didn't want to say the wrong thing. Homeinspectorri.com.